All right, folks, we've briefly talked about a great film coming out August 22nd, When the Game Stands Tall, and we have a great actor with us. We're going to talk about that film and some of the other stuff he's working on. Armando Leduc, how are you doing?
Great. Thanks for having me.
Oh, it's fantastic. And When the Game Stands Tall is a great film. I love the fact that it's based on a true story. It's got a lot of great values and messages in it. So give everybody a little insight on about the film itself and what role you play.
Well, I play Raul Laura, who is the Long Beach Poly coach. It's about a team, De La Salle, who I believe had a 150 game winning streak, and then they lose it, and then they have to regain, their they have to regain their title back.
Yeah, it definitely is kind of a fall from the pedestal sort of storyline. You have the seniors are graduating, leaving behind the younger kids, and they go out and just set up an amazing thing. I mean, have first off a record streak like this, decade after decade of winning records and seasons and that kind of thing. Then have a 150 game streak like this, and you get to play the character that everybody kind of jeers at a little bit, the coach of one of the rival teams, in a huge climactic part of the film. And did you spend much time learning about the real life Raul?
I looked up some interviews just to get kind of his mannerisms and how he talked. I knew he was a really great coach and well respected. So it was pretty interesting playing somebody. This is the first time I had actually played somebody that exists. So it was really fun.
As far as the sports aspect, are you a big sports fan? Is this kind of like a really cool genre that you were able to be a part of, or is it kind of like just another role?
I love football movies. Remember the Titans, Varsity Blues, Any Given Sunday. Every single football movie that has come out, I'm in love with, and I love football. So yeah, I was really excited when I got the role.
You work with just an amazing cast. Obviously, Michael Chiklis is in this, Jim Caviezel, and some of the kids are just phenomenal. And what was sort of the feel on the set? Did the De La Salle kids kind of stay separate from your Poly kids, or was it sort of just kind of a different kind of feel? How did all that kind of play out on set?
It was so hot. I don't know if you've ever been to New Orleans during the summertime, but it was just sweltering. And pretty much it was kind of, like that. Everybody kind of stayed in their own little group and team, and wasn't real much animosity going on, but there was a really, really cool sense of competition, I guess. So
Mm-hmm.
I think that plays out on film for sure.
Well, definitely the heat. They're definitely trying to capture the real life conditions that these players went through in California when this game existed, and it's just an incredible thing. So the shooting of this definitely was a lot of that was pretty realistic, huh?
Oh my God, yes, for sure. Like I said, if you've never been down here, I felt sorry for the football players, because they had full gear on. I only had a polo and some khakis, but they were just. Everybody, I mean, they really had to make sure everybody was drinking enough water and making sure that they had enough AC. But there was some times where we just kind of had to keep shooting, and they were just out there for an hour and a half to 2 hours, just in the sunlight, sweating, and it was pretty miserable conditions.
When they're putting together, When the Game Stands Tall, they're putting this together, they have their storyboards and that kind of thing. Was there a lot of emphasis on trying to emulate some of the real life events, or was it just sort of like a skeletal and a framework?
I felt like it was a framework, because when I got on set, the script that I had, they kind of threw out a little bit on my part. They had some football coaches there that kind of, Thomas Carter was just like, I kind of want to feel like he says something different. And so they kind of rewrote all of my lines. And I had to memorize them in 2 minutes and just deliver. So, but luckily I was kind of in the frame of mind anyway. And I know about football. So it was not too difficult to kind of create that.
Well, I think it was fantastic, and folks, I've not written my formal review yet, but you will hear. I mean, I love this film. I thought When the Game Stands Tall did a great job of delivering a fantastic football film with a great message for kids, a great message for families in the faith-based community, and yet still reaching out to a secular audience. This is not a Bible-thumping film or anything that's going to slam anybody upside the head and make them be offended. And it just really deals with just a great moment in time, part of our history, the legacy of these incredible kids and coaches that made it happen. And don't jeer too much at Armando's character. He didn't mean anything by it. It's not his fault. He got picked on the Long Beach squad.
All right. Well, if they're jeering, then I did my job.
You did, and it is done well. It's not like you're not playing the leader of the Cobra Kai's telling him to sweep the leg. It was still very tasteful. So we walk away going, hey, he's a losing coach, but he wasn't like vicious or mean or anything that was sort of like really degrading. And I thought that was a good thing too. It didn't become sweep the leg, which is one of my big pet peeves in sport movies. Sometimes it's like that's such a small percentage of society where that would actually happen. Yet it's sort of in a lot of sports movies.
Yeah, for sure.
You also have a great film coming out. I don't know too much about it other than you get to co-star next to Will Smith and Margot Robbie, Rodrigo Santoro, which is one of my favorites, in a comedy called Focus. Tell everybody a little bit about that film and what you get to do in that.
Well, I'm not sure how much I can talk about it, but I know it's basically about a grifter, and I play one of his, I guess, marks. So he kind of swindles me in the scenes that I'm in with him. So it was a lot of fun. We were on set, I'm singing show tunes with Will Smith on the side. So it was really, it was really a fun time.
Well, that sounds like an amazing experience just in and of itself, right?
Oh yeah, he's so down to earth. He was just really. I mean, we were there. We were kind of setting up the shot, and his stand-in was there, and we kind of had already kind of created this vibe because we were on set for about 5 hours before he arrived. And, I mean, he just kind of slipped in and just wasn't I kind of assumed that he would just kind of take over the scene a little bit and just kind of, I don't know, just like really head it up. And he just kind of like really just eased in there so smooth and was just really like everybody was his friend, and it was amazing. When you see a class actor like that, I mean, it was amazing to work with Will Smith for sure.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Another great project you have come down as well. Just an interesting one about the midlife crisis frat boys. They're going to head back to the beach in a film called Last Spring Break. Can you tell us much about that?
Yeah. This film, my friend Sean Garrowin approached me with, and me and my friend Michael Dardon ended up writing it on set. It was sort of shot as a documentary, like mockumentary style, and the entire movie was improvised. So we just kind of went out to South Padre Island in Texas, and we had this framework, this kind of blueprint of what we wanted to do and what we wanted to accomplish. And then when we got there, we just kind of started writing everything on set and just acting as we were writing. So that was the first time I had ever improvised an entire feature. I felt sorry for the editor because I'm sure there was just hours upon hours upon hours of footage.
That's incredible. I cannot imagine editing or trying to make some sense of that. But wow, that's a lot of footage.
Yeah. Yeah, we just got accepted into the Ohio, the Cleveland Film Festival, and then the Chicago International Comedy Festival. So it'll be screening over there.
Well, it's not your only writing and directing and producing project. You got this other one that's kind of also still kind of come along, Bourbon Whiz, which is part of the web series for Dish. And tell us a little bit about that, and kind of it sounds like a little bit of a project of passion.
Absolutely. I sing in a cover band, and I worked on Bourbon Street for five nights a week, and just saw all kinds of craziness. And this idea came about where what if Dorothy, instead of ending up in Oz, ends up in New Orleans on Bourbon Street, and she meets just all kinds of crazy characters. And I had access to amazing musicians, and so we just kind of took all of the songs that were in The Wizard of Oz and just really redid them with like a New Orleans vibe. And I have some like amazing actors that were just on board, and it just kind of came together so organically. When we entered it into the Louisiana Independent Film Fest, we weren't sure like how it was going to go, but we ended up winning 4 awards, and one of the rewards were getting picked up by Dish Network. So things are just kind of starting to really like come together. So I'm excited about that.
That's fine, fantastic. Do we have any ETAs or anything like that from Dish, and when it'll be more sort of out there?
Yes, we have just finished episode 10. We had to do some ADR and a little bit more sound and music, but that's finally finished. We're going to have a premiere here in New Orleans on August the 14th, and then it should be on Dish Network by September 1st.
That's fantastic. That's fantastic news. You'll have to make sure I get in the loop there, get a little screening of some of that footage. That's good stuff.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, tell me a little bit about, because you've been putting together this resume, things are kind of exploding for you rather quickly. Is there somebody that's kind of given you some advice early on, or maybe some folks that, gave you some, words of wisdom from their experiences that you still kind of hang on to?
I do. James Dumont, who I don't know if you know him, but
I do. And you know what my nickname is for Dumont? You can tease him when you talk to him. I'm trying to get him for a second interview. We ended up doing an interview. Sorry, folks, we're going to sidetrack for a moment to James Dumont. We were joking because he's got these little one-off scenes in like almost every other movie, and he's kind of we nicknamed he's like the closer. It's like we got to have a character who plays this scene. We don't have time and we don't have money for this. We need somebody who could do this in like 2 hours. That's James Dumont.
yeah. He's just a consummate professional, and I absolutely seek his counsel on just anything that has to do with the business. He's just introduced me to, a bunch of great people, and whenever I have any questions or if I have a big audition that, that I kind of really want to like mold, he's the person to ask. So he's absolutely my mentor and my friend, and I really love the guy. So yeah, for sure. He helps me out.
And by the way, he is also in When the Game Stands Tall, folks. So if you don't know who James Dumont is, when the Stanford recruit shows up on screen, that is Mr. Dumont.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah, I know who you guys are. I can keep you all straight. Well, that's fantastic. What else is going on for you? Anything else you could share with us?
I've been getting a lot more into writing lately. So I've got a feature film that I'm trying to finish the polishes on. It's called Heart, which is a boxing comedy that takes place where a sort of a lovable loser who's got a lot of things going on in his life gets sort of a heart attack and has to try to find a heart, try to come up with money to get a heart transplant. And so it turns into a boxing movie where he like has to fight in order to get the money to get his heart transplant.
That is definitely not something that's been done before. So I'm down with that. Awesome.
Yeah.
Armando Leduc. Now, are you on Facebook and Twitter, all that? Can people hook up with you and kind of follow what's going on?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Right.
I've got to get more into the Twitter atmosphere. I do a lot of Facebook, but James and a lot of people said that I need to get on the Twitter. So.
Well, the first thing you're doing wrong is like myself. You keep calling it the Twitter. We have to stop that because we're doing it wrong. So it's just Twitter. I don't know why that matters to certain folks, but really when we say the Twitter, we sound like 60-year-olds to them. I don't understand that, but I've been Facebooking for a long time. They don't like the fact that we use it as a verb. So I don't know. I'm just giving some words of advice that I'm constantly being corrected on by my 20 and younger crowd that listens to us. So
gotcha.
I've done my part. Armando Leduc, we will definitely track those down and link to those folks. And When the Game Stands Tall opens August 22nd. We'll keep you focused. I'll make sure I track down the date on Focus because it does come out soon as well, and some of these other things. And of course, as he says, the great Bourbon Whiz, an extraordinarily interesting project here, headed to Dish as late as September 1st and premiering locally there in New Orleans and some other areas possibly. So make sure you check that out. Armando, thank you again for fitting us into your schedule, my friend, and keep in touch.
Thank you so much.
All right, take care.
All right, appreciate it.